Jude, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Jeremy. How are you?
Good. It's so lovely to see you. Thanks a lot for participating in
You.
AI to Peace.
No, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's great. The talks have been fantastic so far.
Yeah, and amazing. I think it's over 1.6 million people have been watching today, so an incredible number on X. So, look, the first thing I want to ask is could you tell the audience about your amazing journey and the wonderful work that you've been doing for a long time now? Tell us about it.
A long time. Yeah, sure. So as I was introduced, I'm founder and CEO of Playmob. We've been leveraging games to enable gamers to take action for the planet. There are 3.7 billion people playing games on the planet, so almost kind of 40% of the global population play, and we want to unlock that player power into a force for good. But also just to mention as well, so Playmob was acquired by Planet Play last year. So we're combining forces to bring together. So Playmob bring the data and insights about how players feel about climate change. So we've got lots of data, lots of insights. We're looking at AI, machine learning on, what we do with this data. But then Planet Play have tools to be able to activate and raise funds for vital projects globally to protect and save our planet. So we're combining forces to bring together the data and the activation so that we can do more in the gaming space, which is really exciting. And then a couple of years ago, I also kind of co-founded something called the Playing for the Planet Alliance, which is now over 60 organizations in the industry, including Xbox, PlayStation, Supercell, Rovio, Cybo, all the big players are involved. And they're looking at not just how they can activate their players, but also reduce their carbon footprint, which is even more important these days because of the energy consumption used by AI and how we're using AI in the game space. Yeah, so that's a whistle stop tour.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's really inspiring. And we must team up on the 21st of June for hashtag Climate Action Day. That would be a good one for us. So let's get on to it. Tell me, when you hear the phrase AI to peace, what does it make you think?
Yeah, it's a really interesting phrase. Listening to all the talks today, and I feel quite excited by AI and what it can do for peace. In terms of how we can use it for education, understanding different countries, different cultures. Um, I think there's huge potential. So I'm really excited, like most people are today. I think what comes to mind as well are what are the risks? What are the unintended consequences? And but I feel less on the risk side after hearing a lot of the talks today as well, because I've learned so much from the amazing speakers. But yeah, I think it could unlock so much potential because if we think about the wave of AI that we're in right now being kind of like the beginning of the internet and what that did for the world, and how it's unlocked so much potential for people and the planet. Um, I think it's just also being mindful of like what are the negatives and what are the risks and what are the things that could go wrong. But I think where we are in terms of technologists and scientists and the academics and the businesses that are working in this space, I feel like the ethics of how we're using AI and what it can do for a more peaceful planet is really exciting. So I'm feeling quite positive, especially after today.
So great that you've been watching everything. Well done, you. So look, tell me, how much is AI been impacting your work, and do you use it? Can you just talk to me about how close you are to it all?
Really good question. So in terms of our work day to day, we don't we use it in terms of an organization, in terms of workflows and efficiencies. I think it's absolutely amazing for that. The amount that we can do using AI has been fantastic. In the gaming space, as an industry, games do use AI. When you think about kind of playing against the a non-human character in a game, that is AI. And how games are created, there's ways that we can make that whole process efficient. I think where we're seeing, a lot of discussion in the games industry is around kind of creativity. I think, as human beings, as gamers, we still really like ideas and creativity that comes from a person. I think you can still really see it and feel it as well. And if you think about games as well, they're very emotional. They unlock lots of types of emotions within people. So yes, I think we just have to be really careful about how we use AI and keeping our authenticity as an industry and making sure that the emotional side and the empathetic side of a game and sympathetic side is still there. And that I think that can really only come from humans. But there's lots and lots of advantages of AI. It just has to be used in the right way.
Very interesting, very interesting. If people would like to find out about the work that you're doing with PlayMob and now this wonderful collaboration that you created, where would they go to understand more about your work?
Yeah, there's a couple of things you can do. So, I mean, so our website, planetplay.com, has lots of great examples and case studies and blogs on how games are used for good, in particular around climate change. They can also come to, so I wrote a book, I launched it last year called Gaming for Good. And I did that with Matthias Norvig, who is the CEO of a game studio called Cyber Games. They made Subway Surfers, which is like the most downloaded game on the planet with 4 billion downloads. So the book is really to try and help kind of demystify games and how they can be a force for good and almost kind of be a blueprint for if you're in the game space, what can you do? And if you're a non-gamer, because 60% of the global population don't play games, then how can you leverage this force for good? And we talk a bit in the book as well about how AI has been used. So there are a couple of resources, and we're also working on a project right now called Great. It's an EU project which has been going on for 3 years, and there's lots of resources on our Great project website, which I'm happy to share links for as well, but lots of academic papers and resources about gaming, data for good, climate and gaming, and gaming and climate policy. So yeah, there's lots of resources there that I'm happy to share links about.
Fantastic. Can you tell me, what other resources would you recommend in terms of people wanting to find out more, to be sort of inspired or empowered around this whole issue of AI? What comes to mind?
Yeah, so there's a book that I love called The Alignment Problem, and it's by Brian Christian. And I think for anyone who is trying to understand AI, or or want to learn more about it, I think it's a really fantastic book to learn about the ethics behind it. And it really kind of goes back to like the beginning of the original kind of scientists and technologists and researchers and looking at some of the kind of alarm bells that were going off in the early days and how we're trying to rectify that moving forward. Which reading the book, it gives me hope because people have been looking at the ethics of this for a long time, but it really kind of clearly outlines like the path to where we are now. So yeah, anyone who wants to get their head around like the ethics of AI, then yeah, The Alignment Problem is a fantastic book to read.
Incredible. And I mean, in terms of the next 5 years, in terms of this next phase, what's your sort of, I don't know, what's the big mountain for you? What's your kind of vision for where Jude wants to go?
Big question, Jeremy. Yeah, so I mean, I think we want to really unlock the power of games across some of the biggest games in the world. So we're looking at console, PC, mobile. The games industry is only going to get bigger, and so we really want to make sure that it's a force for good. And so I think these conversations are so essential to all industries, but also for us to be able to take back to our industry and show that we need to be doing the right things in everything that we produce and think about. But yeah, I think the other thing we're really excited about is on the data and on the AI front is I think one of the challenges on AI is like the input, like what are the language models we're using, what is our AI feeding off. And I think with a lot of the data in terms of sentiment and attitudes that we're collecting from gamers, I think that's got huge potential because it's really about what people care about. And so we're looking into the future of what AI and machine learning means for us and the world in terms of how can we predict future behaviors. And that could also link to AI and peace as well. So I think there's two kind of paths there, one unlocking the potential in the gaming space, but the other one is unlocking what AI really means for us as an organization and with the huge data sets that we have.
Amazing. Jude, I hope everybody listening goes to your websites, checks you out on LinkedIn, gets your book. Listen, you're a real inspiration. You're always there for me in Peace One Day. I'm really grateful, and I just wish you the absolute best on your amazing journey, Jude. Take care.
Thank you, you too, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.